I think Psych is here in a global way at this time because of this time. I think it's here. It was given 25 years ago. It showed up through my physical beingness, so to speak. But it's not here just for me. It's here for the world and those who are ready to use it, understand it, recognize it, and use it for what it's intended to do. It's a high-speed form of accelerating evolution of human consciousness so we can catch up with the evolution that's already going on in the Earth and the evolution of technology. One of the big important aspects of this to me is that our technology and our technological wizardry has seriously outstripped our wisdom. And as that technology proceeds to create all manner of impact on our Earth and on our consciousness, if we don't get wise in a hurry, we're going to continue to misuse and abuse that technology, which we see happening all over the Earth, ecologically, economically, in just about every facet of our lives. Medically even, we see technology outstripping the wisdom of how to use it. So we're building a society that is so far technically advanced, with people making decisions that are so not technically advanced from a wisdom point of view, that we are often misguided, well-intentioned perhaps, but misguided in our use of this technology. So I believe one of the core reasons Psyche exists on the planet is to speed up the evolution of our consciousness, expanding our wisdom. Remember what we said earlier, that this whole brain state is a gateway to higher consciousness. As Albert Einstein said, and many people may be familiar with his saying, you can't solve a problem from the level of thinking that created the problem. So if we're going to make changes in this world, we have to dial up. We have to get to a new level of vision and understanding. Then we have to be able to download that vision to a subconscious level where it can become a habit and we can put it into action through our physicality. You see, just having an esoteric understanding of what needs to be done doesn't change it. But being able to incorporate it in our physiology, in the world through behaviors, then we can make change, and we can make it in quite a hurry, because we've been given this faster way of changing our consciousness.
Can you explain a little bit about how the subconscious mind works, and why is it that going into the subconscious mind to make these changes is the most efficient way to do it?
Well, the subconscious is the home base for your values, attitudes, and beliefs, and those values, attitudes, and beliefs drive your behaviors. As a matter of fact, contemporary neuroscience tells us that at least 95% of the time, our behaviors are driven and directed from the subconscious level of our mind. We don't have as much free will as we think. So about 5% of the time we're operating on this free will level of I think I'll do this or I think I'll do that. The rest of the time we're operating from preconceived notions, belief systems that were learned in the early stages of your life and perpetuated over time. So the decisions and choices that we make are often not conscious at all, but quite subconscious. Those are you can consider the subconscious mind the habit level of thinking and behaving. So all we're really talking about doing here is exchanging habits that are no longer worthy of who we are or who we're becoming for ones that are.
So would you talk to your subconscious mind with words, or is there another way to actually communicate? How does the subconscious mind communicate?
It takes in information in multiple ways, but generally speaking, you need some kind of physiological connector. Remember, its main job is it runs your body. So if something is happening with the body, physical movement, activity, and so on, generally speaking, the subconscious mind is going to be paying attention. It does so because it runs all of your bodily functions. We couldn't hold this chat without the subconscious mind being willing to send signals to the muscles in our body to keep us upright and have us blink when we need to, and for me to swat little creatures when I need to. All of that is part of the subconscious mind's job. If we had to think of all that consciously, well, we couldn't do anything. We would eat a meal, if we could even eat the meal, and get the food to our mouths, and then we would have to be very quiet for at least a couple of hours while we instruct our body on how to digest the food, and then ultimately to eliminate it, and ultimately to go back and have more of it. Most of our life would be taken up just in survival mode.
All the while you're breathing.
All the while you're breathing and your heart is beating and all the blood's flowing through your system and cleansing is going on and all this stuff, digestion, respiration, and so on. So the really important thing is that it takes care of a lot of functions because it's a very powerful processor. And I say processor because that's what it does. It processes information, but it's not really an intelligent part of you. It's not a wise part of you. It's not the one that reads the books and says, wow, this is really what a wonderful idea, I'm all excited and motivated. It's generally busy digesting dinner or breakfast or a cup of coffee while you're reading the books, or listening to a lecture. So the information that it has is been accumulated over time through experience. You have an experience, you draw a conclusion, that becomes a perception and a belief, and from that perception and belief, you drive the next choice in your life. So whatever that choice is, it's mostly determined by what you just experienced or even years ago experienced. So the whole idea here is that the subconscious has its function, and it's a really important one, but it's not the one that should determine your destiny. It's not the one that says this is a smart way to go, and this is a school to go to, or this is a person to date, or this is a great investment, or whatever your deal is. I'm just saying that don't go to your subconscious for that. That's not what it's intended to. It's much more like a recording system that then repeats whatever it's heard. Now, the important thing about it is that you can rewrite the perceptual filters, in other words, the belief systems, I call them, to change the way it perceives, and therefore what it suggests you should do or not do. In other words, you can change your habits by changing your perceptions. It doesn't matter how long ago something happened. It doesn't even matter too much how traumatic it was. Because if you change the definition of it, the perception of it, it de-traumatizes, it de-links from this automatic behavior or experience that you had in the past that haunts you now once you re-perceive it. And I don't mean see it necessarily. I just mean your subconscious mind goes to that time, and it doesn't even do time. I mean, it does the present moment only, which is another unique feature of it. Our conscious mind does the future and the past, but subconscious, present moment only. So it doesn't know that this happened to you 35 years ago. It just knows that the very next decision you make is going to include what that experience was. Now, if you change the perception of that experience through Psych and these balances, they're called balances because they create a balanced identification between the left and the right hemisphere, which is, again, putting you in a whole brain state as you perceive that historical event. When you have both hemispheres perceiving it at the same time, it changes its effect. And that can happen in a matter of minutes.